Okay, so now we are starting our recording. All right, so this is the Zoom in Canvas and Zoom in Alamo, a love story. Okay, so now we are starting our recording. All right, so this is the Zoom in Canvas and Zoom in Alamo, a love story. And just so you guys know that this recording will be posted in our TLC YouTube channel. And it's just a simple timeline of the things that we're going to be covering in our session. So let's start off with Zoom in Canvas. So some of the things that you need to understand about the Zoom in Canvas is that you can create Zoom meetings for a single Canvas course, and students can join your Zoom meetings without having to share the meeting link. And students can view your Zoom recordings without you needing to post them. And another added benefit is that you can import any meetings created in Alamo Zoom to your Canvas course. Some drawbacks. You can only make Zoom meetings for one Canvas course at a time. And so you create your meeting in that Canvas course, then you have to exit out of that one, open up a different Canvas course, and do the same thing again. Another one, you don't have the same access to the settings that you would get in Alamo Zoom, and you cannot create polls in the Zoom meetings that are within your Canvas course. If you wanted to create polls, you would have to log in to your Alamo Zoom to create them there. Another drawback is that you cannot access other Zoom meetings that were created outside of your Canvas course. So again, when you're within your Canvas course, all you're going to see there are just the Zoom meetings that are tied to that particular class. And then another thing is that you also cannot access other Zoom recordings that were tied to a different meeting outside your Canvas course. And then here I have is a screenshot of Zoom in Canvas. So you can kind of see right here, this is my navigation bar. I clicked on Zoom, and here is what you will have if you post or create Zoom meetings in your Canvas course. And everything that you see right here is what's available to you. So this is how you would schedule. Also, let's see. Some of the benefits is that any Zoom meetings created in Canvas do not need to be reposted or shared with students in Canvas. So if I'm going back to my image right here, students will have a tab here that will have the Zoom recordings. So all they have to do is click on this tab and they would see a list of all the Zoom recordings that were tied to your Zoom meetings. And that really does save some time without you having to go and share out those Zoom recordings to students in case they missed a Zoom meeting. And then students, again, well, just that's the added benefit. They automatically have access to your Zoom recordings. And then here is the student view. So this is the navigation bar. Here's the Zoom button, and this is all they see. They just see the upcoming meetings, and when they log into their Canvas course, they just simply have to click join. They don't need to go and search for that Zoom link that you shared out. And then again, if they missed a Zoom meeting, they can just click over to the Cloud Recordings tab. And if you set up your Zoom meeting in Canvas to record, those recordings will be found in this tab. And also a side note is that you really want to make sure that the students are able to have access to Zoom if you plan on using it in your Canvas course. So here's a really awesome thing that I think is really great is that you can import any Zoom meeting that you created in Alamo Zoom. So I created this short little video that walks you through this great option because I actually had an instructor who said, hey, I made all these Zoom meetings in Alamo for my Canvas course. Is there a way for me to put them inside my Canvas so that way my students can have access to my recordings? And based on that consultation, I created this video.
Can we pause for just a second? I have a question.
Yeah, of course.
Can you talk about the cloud recordings being accessible, you know, through is that taking up space on the same cloud that we get nastygrams about from district?
Yes.
So those are adding to each faculty member's usage of the big Alamo Zoom cloud that we bought. Alamo, okay.
Yeah, it does. Unfortunately, that's one of those things where it's going to take up space. But I mean, most of the time, what I recommend if space is an issue is that, once the course is over, you just go and delete those Zoom recordings that, so that way you can save up space. Or if you want to save them, you can, download them to save up space. But yeah, unfortunately, that's, there's nothing I can really prevent that from happening. I wish it didn't take up the space, but it does. Any other questions before I move on? No? Okay. So I wanted to show this great feature that's available to you in a Canvas course. So I'm going to click on this video. Oh, pause that. Okay, can everybody see that video? Is that good? Okay. Video is to walk you through how you could add any Zoom meetings that you created in Alamo Zoom into the Zoom in your Canvas course. So here in my Canvas course, I'm going to go to my Zoom, and here you would see that I have no meetings. Now, right next to schedule a new meeting, there is some 3 dots right here that allow you to import a meeting. So let's say you created a Zoom meeting for this Canvas course, but you did it in Alamo Zoom. And now you want to transfer everything over. So it's very simple. All I would have to do is click these 3 dots here and click Import Meeting. And here it's asking for the meeting ID. I would then log on to my alamo.zoom.us, click on my meetings, and I will see which meeting I wanted to add. So let's pretend I would like to add this meeting that I created. So all I have to do is just copy and paste my meeting ID, click Import, and there it is. It's been added to my Canvas Zoom. Now, if I had any cloud recordings that were connected to that meeting, I would find them transferred over. So let's do another one. I'm going to import my support meeting. And once I import that, you would see that any of my cloud recordings from my Canvas support meeting, and once I do that, any cloud recordings also transfer over. So when I go to my student view, my students will now see 2 new meetings that have been added for them to click on. And when they view the cloud recordings, they can also go back and review any of the cloud recordings that are attached to those Zoom meetings that I imported. Okay, so do we have any questions? Okay. Yes.
Clowns like me, I have, for the course, I use the same meeting, and I have 3 sections or so of the same course. If I were to import import that course, there'd be a ton of videos that come with it. Is that the way it works?
So so the Zoom meeting link that you created in Zoom, if you save those Zoom recordings, once you import it, those Zoom recordings will come along into the Canvas course. But if you are using the same Zoom link for different Canvas courses, I would not recommend doing that.
Well,
Simply because,
it's the same
sorry.
course, it's different sections.
Yeah, so even if it's a different sections, because what happens is if you use that Zoom meeting link for section 1, and then you go to your Canvas course at section 2 and try to import that, they're going to say, sorry, this meeting is already inside a different Canvas course. It's not going to let you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, of course. Any other great questions? No? Okay. So
Yes, I have a question. You have
yeah.
any suggestion for office hours, Zoom hours for different classes?
Say that one more time.
The office hours?
What about the office?
The office hours for Zoom meeting.
Are you saying that you created a Zoom link just for office hours?
Yeah,
Yes.
for different classes.
Okay. Is that Zoom link different for each class, or is it the same?
Which way you have? Do you have any suggestion which way it is more? You know, we have 5 different classes and 3 different office hour time. So, do you have any suggestions which way it works better?
Okay. So it's mostly a preference, but if you've had, say you have to each course you have office hours, right? So
Yeah.
section 1, you created a Zoom meeting link for those office hours, even if they're at different times. It would not work in your favor to put it in Canvas if you are reusing the same Zoom link, even if it's at different times. If you're using the same Zoom link for other sections for office hours,
Yes.
it's not gonna work if you put that in Canvas. Because
So
You're
how do
talking
we-
about it not working if she creates the link within Canvas. But
so if you go into your Canvas course and create a Zoom meeting link just dedicated to office hours inside every single Canvas course, then yes, it would work. But if you're trying to import a Zoom meeting link that is used for different sections, even if they're set at different times, that won't cross over. So you would have, if you wanted to post your office hours, you can, but you would have to do it inside each Canvas course.
this
So
is
that
a
each
little
have their
bit
own way.
confusing. Alba has a comment too, but I just wanted to say this is a little bit confusing because what Mallory's talking about is different than going to alamo.zoom.us, creating a link and like putting it in your announcements. That's different than creating the link or importing the link into your Canvas course, which causes these complications. But go ahead, Alba, sorry.
I was going to say, as a faculty member, we're required to post our office hours in the syllabus. And what actually, if you go into the syllabus, you can put that link in there. And this is on your Canvas course. I mean, not your Canvas course. I'm sorry. It's in your syllabus. I'm just forgetting what it's called right now. But you know where all of our syllabus are posted?
Concourse.
And I think students are aware of that. The other one was announcements that I've used, but announcements is confusing for them if I give them more than one link. So I've kept my office hours like look at your syllabus because it makes them go out into course canvas, right? I think, no, what is that called? Where we all post our syllabi,
Like your concourse?
concourse. And it makes them go into concourse. When they look at syllabus, it comes up automatically and it's there.
Yeah, because if you create your office hours inside your Canvas course, you would have, the students would see this. They would see their usual Zoom meeting times, and then they would also see a different title here called office hours, and it would also be, if your office hours are at 2, that's where it would have here. And so that's one way to do that, but it's actually easier if you're teaching multiple sections of the same course. I believe it would be much easier just to share the Zoom link from Alamo Zoom, because if not, you would have to go in, log into every single section to pull that meeting in here.
Yes, and what I experienced with students, it was confusing for them. Sometimes they would show up at my office hours thinking it was a class time, because they have so many classes and so many options that what the students express to me is, I don't know when I have class or office hours, and just that was the feedback I'd gotten from my students. Thank you.
That's a great suggestion. I would prefer, I think that would probably be your best bet, would to be put it in your syllabus, the Zoom link. These are great questions. Do we have any more? No? Okay, so I thought the next thing after we discussed what options are available to you inside, after we discussed all the options that are available to you having your Zoom inside a Canvas course, the next step would be, okay, so if that's something that you're interested in doing, let's go through on the steps you would need to take to create a Zoom meeting inside Canvas. So before you take those steps, you need to make sure that your Zoom is in your navigation bar in Canvas. And I created a little video here if you need to take that extra step. And this video walks you through going to your settings inside your Canvas course and adding Zoom into your navigation bar. So for time, I'm going to skip that video, but that extra step is there if you need it. If you already have Zoom in your navigation bar, and just to remind you, this is what I'm referring to by navigation bar. So if you already see the word Zoom here, then you don't need to go into your Canvas settings. You can just skip that first step. So once your navigation bar does have Zoom, you can create the Zoom meeting. So I'm going to click this little video here to kind of walk you through that. The purpose of this video is to walk you through creating a Zoom meeting for your Canvas course. So I've selected one of my Canvas courses, and now I'm going to click on Zoom. Next, I'm going to click Schedule a New Meeting. I can name this meeting anything I would like. You do not need to put a description. And then on the when, you can determine if this is going to be a recurring meeting. So if you plan on creating a meeting that happens, say, every week, twice a week, I suggest selecting recurring meeting. And then I would, instead of saying daily, I would say this is going to be weekly. And then I can say, for example, if my Canvas course is going to meet on Monday and Wednesday, I can make those selections. And then I can say that class is going to be over. This is going to continue until December 10th. And then I can say this repeats once, because it's only going to happen one time on Monday and one time on Wednesday. And then once I make my selections, I can state how long this is going to be. And then I can also put down exactly what time. So if this happens, say, and then I can select my time. Oh, this is going to be 10 a.m. I can then add in a waiting room or a passcode. And then I would suggest that you start with everything off. And of course, once the meeting begins, you can change these options. I would also suggest to mute participants upon entry. So that way, as students are joining your Zoom meetings, any background noise will not interrupt your Zoom lecture. And if you need any alternative hosts that are going to be speaking to your class, or if you just have a TA, you can put their email right here. And then once you've made all your selections, you can click Save. Now, when I click back on Home, I can go to my student view. And when my student clicks on Zoom, they will have the option to click Join. And that way, as you can see, my Monday and Wednesday at 10 a.m. and how this continues all the way through. If a student misses a Zoom meeting, they can click on Cloud Recordings to listen to any Zoom meeting that they might have missed. Okay, so I know there was a lot of information that was presented. Does anyone have any questions? Yes, Alba.
My question is, I have a guest speaker and I try to put their email in as an alternative host. And it says it is not within your contacts. So is there a step I'm missing?
Usually it won't allow if they don't have Alamo.
Okay.
Yeah, so if it's someone who's outside, because our Zoom is connected to Alamo. That's why it's like Alamo Zoom. It's not a regular Zoom. And so therefore it's not gonna work if you have, say, a guest speaker who does not work or is not tied to Alamo. They have a Gmail account or a Yahoo.
Yeah.
That won't work.
I can't make them a co-host, but in the session, I could probably enable that. Like, you know, if they're lecturing and they need screen sharing and all of that, but I can't make them a co-host.
No, you can make once the Zoom meeting starts and you are able to go to your chat and select on that person's name who's presenting and have them become the co-host.
Okay.
Yes, you just aren't able to make them the alternative host ahead of time.
Okay. Thank you.
Great question. Anyone else?
Mallory, when I transport my classes from last semester into this semester and everything transports over, doesn't, except for having the ID, doesn't the content of recurring or that's not gonna duplicate? Do I have to go in and create it again? All that you're going through? Okay, so that shell does need to be currently updated as to match the current semester, right?
Yes, you would need to go in and make changes because the dates won't cross over because it's not going to align. It's not going to change to align to the new semester. You would have to go in and create that.
And I know that about the dates and times, but I meant like the other particulars that, that are identified, like video, audio, things like that. Those aren't just a standard given. You still have to go in and put that they're off.
Yeah, you would have to remake your meetings it's a different section. They're not tied together. They don't cross over.
Okay.
That's one of the drawbacks of using Zoom and Canvas. It's only going to be tied to that Canvas course.
Sure. Okay.
Once that Canvas course is done with, or once you go to a different Canvas course, it's completely separated.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Great question. Anyone else? No? Okay, so let's now talk about Alamo Zoom. So we discussed Canvas, Zoom and Canvas. Now let's talk about the benefits of Alamo Zoom. So this is the best way I can describe it. Think of Alamo Zoom as the hub or the mothership of all Zoom meetings that are created in Canvas, okay? So in Alamo Zoom, any Zoom meetings that are created inside Canvas are going to be found in your Alamo Zoom because, again, Alamo Zoom's the hub or the mothership. The Alamo Zoom can connect to all the different Canvas courses. So that's one of the added benefits. In Alamo Zoom, you can create Zoom meetings and polls, and you can have access to view and change all Zoom meetings. If you want to, go in and switch your settings, you're able to do that for all the Zoom meetings. Whereas in Canvas, you would have to go in each different section if you wanted to change something in your Zoom meeting. And in your Alamo Zoom, you would have access to all Zoom recordings that have been created. Even if they're from different Canvas courses, they're all going to be listed inside Alamo Zoom. And again, you can have access to view and change your Zoom settings, your recording settings, additional settings that are not available to you in Canvas. And before I start playing the video that kind of plays out some of these things I discussed, does anyone have any questions? No? Oh.
Oh, sorry, I muted you on accident. Alba had a.
No, it's not so much as a question. I'm having a problem with my computer. Can you repost your PowerPoint?
Yeah, I can definitely do that. Oops.
I'm going to have to switch to another computer. Thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions?
So is one more advantageous than the other? I know you referred to Alamo Zoom as the, the mothership and the hub. Does one facilitate, like if we had 6 classes and you're going, oh my God, I got to go back and do all these particulars. I like simple. You probably know that, Mallory. That's my motto. Keep it simple, silly. Yeah, because my students need it simple, and I do too. And so anyway, that's my question is, one more, I guess, user-friendly than the other, or are they just equal capacity?
So the steps of creating a Zoom meeting are going to be the exact same steps that you would do in Alamo Zoom versus Canvas. I wouldn't say, it's hard for me to say that there's an advantage of Canvas versus Alamo Zoom, simply because it depends on what your class needs. So if your students require a lot of flexibility on your end and you find it tedious to constantly share out the Zoom links, or having students ask you, hey, can you give me the Zoom meeting for this date, and you have to go back to Alamo Zoom and share that, or if you find it hard because your students keep forgetting where you're posting your Zoom link inside your Canvas course, then you're probably better off creating the meeting in Canvas. So all the students have to do is click that join button. All students have to do is click on the cloud tab if they want to access any of that information. But if your class is, say, several sections, it's beneficial to use the Alamo Zoom. So that way you can just post the same Zoom link to all the Canvas courses, and the only difference is that you'll tell section 1, hey, this is where you go Monday at 10 a.m. and section 2 with the same Zoom link, you would just type in, hey, this is the Zoom meeting link that you will click on Tuesdays at 1 p.m. So it just depends on what would be best for your circumstance or the needs of your students. So that's going to be my answer for that.
I think that kind of gets at what Lance had asked earlier, and what Gina was asking about too, some of the things to consider.
Currently, I've used, in the past, I have used the Zoom link in the navigation, and I think that was real simple, because the idea is to get them used to just going to one place to gather their resources, and that's embedded there. I agree, it's situational, it sounds like, Mallory, how it's used, but for my population anyway, I think just so that they can rely totally on that location, that site, no matter what, it's there for them versus, I see the other side of it too, but my intent with my delivery is that it's all in one place for them, instead of, well, no, I gotta, if I'm understanding you right. And the Zoom is there in the navigation bar already. Thank you.
Yeah. And, it's just one of those things that it depends on what is needed for your students or what is best works for your class. So that I'm not really, each one has its pros and each one has its cons, depending on how you look at it. So yeah, these are really great questions and comments. Anything else before I start playing this little video? No? Okay. So let me click on this. The purpose of this recording is to walk you through how the Zoom meetings created in Canvas interact with the Alamo Zoom. So first, I'm going to go into my Canvas course, and then I'm going to select one of my Canvas shells. And in this shell, I created a Zoom meeting. So here I can see all my Zoom meetings. My students can access any cloud recordings that are generated from this Zoom meeting. Now keep in mind, I can't access any other meetings except for the ones that were created in this particular Canvas shell. So now let's see how that's reflected in Alamo Zoom. So I'm going to log on to alamo.zoom.us. I'm going to sign in. And here I will find all my Zoom meetings that I've created in each one of my Canvas courses, as well as previous meetings that I created in Alamo Zoom. So these are the meetings that I created in Alamo Zoom. And then this is the meeting that I created in my Canvas shell. And if I wanted to, I can delete all the meetings or just delete one of my meetings. And if I do delete all my meetings in my Alamo Zoom, when I go back to my Canvas shell and I refresh my page, you will see that change is reflected here. So again, keep in mind that Alamo Zoom is kind of like the mothership or the hub of where all your Zoom sessions kind of meet in one place. So any changes that you make in your settings or to your meetings are going to reflect the Zoom meetings made inside your Canvas course. All right, I hope that video helped explain how those two kind of connect and interact. So do we have any questions about that before we move on? No? Okay. So if you're interested in creating Zoom meetings in Alamo, I created this short video that walks you through creating a Zoom meeting. I'm not going to play it now just for time's sake. I feel that, we have a lot of veteran Zoomers here. So some of you are very familiar with already creating Zoom meetings in Alamo. But for those of you who are, just used to doing it in Canvas, here's a little video that you can refer to if you're interested in starting to, maybe go to the use of Alamo Zoom. So that's an option there that's available for you. And so we are at the end of our session here. Just to kind of give a recap, we discussed what is Zoom in Canvas. We went over creating a Zoom meeting in Canvas, and then of course the benefits of Alamo Zoom and how that interacts, how they interact together. So before we kind of wrap things up and open up for questions, I encourage all of you to fill out this wonderful, amazing survey that that Amanda had created from the TLC. And any information you can give us will be very helpful. So that way we're able to make sure that our sessions are exactly what you need. So any information is more than welcomed.
I put the link to the survey in the chat so you can just click on it.
Thank you.
And also, I'm promoting here our TLC YouTube channel. So in case you want to ever go back and review any recordings, they will be posted here and they will be found in its own playlist for the convocation. So without further ado, this is the end of the meeting. If anyone has any questions or comments, I thank you all for coming.
I'm